You know those moments where your whole life falls apart because of something totally random, like the universe just decides to wreck everything you've built? Yeah, that's what happened to me. I'm Mackenzie, I'm 32, and I lost everything because my kid fell off a stupid playground set. I remember exactly where I was when it all blew up, sitting at my desk at the insurance office, scrolling through TikTok between calls when Mark's name popped up on my phone. I almost ignored it because I was in the middle of this hilarious video, but something made me pick up. The second I heard his voice, I knew something was wrong. He had this weird shake in it, trying to sound casual but totally failing. "Hey Mac, quick question. What's Tyler's blood type again?" My stomach dropped, like literally felt like it hit the floor. See, I'd managed to avoid any medical questions like that for 12 whole years. 12 years. I had this whole system worked out. I handled all the doctor visits, kept all the paperwork, managed every single medical thing for our 3 kids. Mark was always too busy with his contractor business to deal with it anyway, so it worked perfectly. Until that stupid Thursday in April. Why? What's going on? I tried to sound normal, but my voice came out all high and weird. Some part of me already knew it was over. Oh, he fell at school. Nothing major, just needed a few stitches. They did some routine blood work and he paused, and I swear I could hear him putting it all together in his head. The nurse said something interesting about his blood type being impossible given mine. I sat there, frozen, staring at my sad little cubicle wall, covered in pictures of our family. 3 kids, Tyler, Mason, and little Emma, all of them with their dad's brown hair. None of them actually his. "Mark," I can explain. I started, but he cut me off. Can you? Can you really explain how our son has a blood type that's medically impossible if I'm his father? Because I've been sitting here for an hour trying to make it make sense, and the only explanation I'm coming up with is one I really don't want to believe. I didn't say anything. What could I say? Sorry, I've been lying to you for our entire marriage. Sorry, none of our kids are actually yours. Sorry, I was planning to take this secret to my grave. "I'm taking him home now," Mark said, his voice completely empty. "We'll talk when he get back." He hung up before I could respond. I just sat there, staring at my phone, watching as my perfectly crafted life started crumbling. All because Tyler had to go and fall off the monkey bars while I was stuck in a mandatory teen meeting. If I'd been free to take him to the ER myself like I always did, none of this would have happened. I would have known what questions to dodge, what paperwork to accidentally leave blank. I spent the rest of that afternoon sitting in my car in the office parking lot, trying to figure out what to do. Should I run, pack up the kids and disappear before Mark got those paternity tests I knew he'd demand? Should I lie, try to gaslight him into thinking the hospital made a mistake? But I knew Mark. Once he suspected something, he'd dig until he found the truth, and that truth was about to destroy everything. The worst part? I wasn't even sure which of my hookups had fathered Tyler. That phase of my life was such a blur. The gym trainer, the guy from the bar, my co-worker from my old job. I never kept track because I never thought I'd need to know. I just assumed I'd never get caught. Looking back, I guess it all started when Mark got that huge contract to renovate those luxury condos downtown. He was working crazy hours, like gone before dawn, home after midnight kind of schedule. I was lonely, whatever. I started hitting the gym just to have something to do. That's where I met Connor, my trainer. He had these amazing arms and actually paid attention to me, unlike Mark, who was always too tired to even talk. It started with innocent flirting during our sessions, then late-night texts, then private training sessions at his apartment. I'm not going to lie, the sneaking around was kind of thrilling. Mark was so wrapped up in his work, he didn't even notice I was going to the gym 5 times a week. When I got pregnant with Tyler, the timing was close enough that I just let Mark believe he was the father. I mean, he was so excited about becoming a dad. Why ruin that? But then it became like this weird addiction. The more Mark worked, the more I found myself hooking up with different guys. There was this hot bartender at that place downtown. A guy from my office who'd always hint at wanting more than just work, friendship, random guys from dating apps when Mark was away on business trips. I got better at hiding it, learned all the tricks, burner phone, always meeting far from home, keeping my stories straight. Mason came along 2 years after Tyler. That time, I'm pretty sure it was either the bartender or maybe this guy I met at a hotel bar when Mark was at construction conference. Emma followed 3 years later, definitely from a wild phase where I was hitting up clubs with my single friends while telling Mark I was at wine night with the neighborhood mums. Each time, I just passed them off as Mark's. He was always so proud showing off their baby pictures, bragging about being a dad. The crazy thing is, I got away with it for so long that I started feeling untouchable, like I had this whole system down. I knew exactly how to act at doctor's appointments, what questions to deflect, how to handle the paperwork. I even joined these mum groups online to learn about genetic traits so I could explain away any features that didn't match Mark's. Oh, they got that from my side of the family became my favourite lie. I wasn't even careful about birth control most of the time. When I did get pregnant, I just calculated the dates and made sure to get extra romantic with Mark around the right time, so he'd think the baby was his. He never questioned it. Why would he? He trusted me completely. Plus, he was always so busy with work that he basically just showed up for the ultrasounds I let him come to in the births. The worst part? I don't even feel that bad about the cheating itself. Mark was barely there, always choosing work over me. What was I supposed to do? Sit at home alone every night? The only thing I regret is not being more careful about the pregnancy stuff. I should have stuck to guys who looked more like Mark at least, or kept better track of who I was sleeping with when. But I honestly never thought I'd need to know. In my head, this was just going to be my little secret forever. After that call from the hospital, Mark went totally quiet. Like, scary quiet. He came home from the ER with Tyler, acted completely normal through dinner, helped with homework, did the whole bedtime routine. But he wouldn't look at me, not really. I kept waiting for him to explode, to scream, to do something, but nothing, just silence. A week went by like that. He'd leave early, come home late, barely speak. I started noticing little things missing. Important papers from his office, the kids' baby albums, old medical records I thought I'd hidden well. Then one morning, after he'd dropped the kids at school, he finally confronted me. Just walked into the kitchen while I was scrolling through Instagram and placed 3 pieces of paper on the counter. You know what these are? His voice was so calm it made my skin crawl. I knew exactly what they were. DNA test results. 1 for each kid. I got lucky, you know that? 1 stupid playground accident and everything came out. 12 years of lies. Just done. Because of a random blood test. I tried to speak, but he cut me off. The funny thing is, I keep thinking about all the signs I missed. How you always handled every doctor's appointment. How you'd get weird about medical forms. How you'd never let me come to half the prenatal checks because you said it was just routine stuff. God, I was so stupid. Mark, please, I started. But what could I say? Sorry, I made you raise 3 kids that weren't yours. Sorry, I let you fall in love with them. Build your whole life around them just to find out like this. He just laughed this hollow laugh. You know what kills me? I got to thinking about all the times you complained about me working too much. That. But I was working to give our family everything. Private schools, nice house, family vacations. Turns out they weren't even my family. They are your family, I tried arguing. You raised them, you loved them. Stop. His voice got this edge I'd never heard before. Just stop. You don't get to do that. You don't get to try to make this okay. He picked up the test results and folded them carefully like they were something precious. I got lucky, he said again, quieter this time. Lucky I found out before another decade passed. Lucky I found out before they were grown. Lucky I found out at all. I watched him walk upstairs to our bedroom. I heard drawers opening, closet doors sliding. When he came back down, he had a small suitcase. Just one. Like he was going on a quick business trip. The lawyers will contact you, he said, heading for the door. Don't try to call me. Don't try to explain. There's nothing left to say. I followed him out to the driveway, still in my pajamas, not caring what the neighbours might think. He got into his car and that's when I saw it. He broke. Just completely broke down, forehead against the steering wheel, shoulders shaking. But he didn't make a sound. Not one sound. After a minute, he straightened up, wiped his face, and drove away without looking back. The next few weeks were like watching a bomb go off in slow motion. First, it was just whispers. I'd catch other mums at school pick up staring, then quickly looking away. My phone started blowing up with concerned texts from people I hadn't talked to in months. The neighbourhood Facebook group got weirdly quiet whenever I posted anything. Then Mark's sister Ashley dropped the nuclear bomb. She posted this long, detailed Facebook rant about how I destroyed her brother's life and traumatized 3 innocent children. She included pictures of the DNA test results. By that afternoon, my social media was a war zone. People I thought were my friends were sharing the post, adding their own little comments about how they always knew something was off about me. My own parents sided with Mark. Can you believe that? My mum actually told me I was sick in the head for what I'd done. She kept saying stuff like, "How could you do this to those babies and we raised you better than this?" Like, hello, I'm your daughter, you're supposed to be on my side. The kids started asking questions I couldn't answer. Tyler, being the oldest at 12, figured out something was wrong first. He found the DNA results in Mark's home office. Guess Mark left them there on purpose. The school counsellor called me in because Tyler had gotten into a fight with some kid who said Mark wasn't his real dad. Mason, my middle one, just got super quiet and stopped eating dinner. And Emma, my baby, she just kept asking when Daddy was coming home from his business trip. Then the financial stuff hit. Mark cancelled all the credit cards. His lawyer sent this scary letter about how he was only legally required to support his biological children, which meant none of mine. The private school called about unpaid tuition. The country club suspended our membership. Even my job got weird. Apparently sleeping with your co-workers and lying about your kids. Paternity makes people uncomfortable in the workplace. I got pushed out with some BS about company restructuring. My sister-in-law, well, ex-sister-in-law, I guess, kept posting these super passive-aggressive updates about Mark, how he was healing, how he was finding himself again, how he was learning to trust again. She made sure to tag all our mutual friends, all our neighbours, basically anyone who might still be talking to me. She even posted about him starting therapy, like he was some kind of victim. I mean, yeah, okay, I lied about some pretty big stuff, but he's the one who abandoned 3 kids who love him. The worst was when Tyler's actual father somehow found out. Turned out he still lived in town and recognized himself in the Facebook drama. He had the nerve to message me saying he wanted nothing to do with any of it and to never contact him. Like I was going to? Please. He wasn't exactly father material back then, and he definitely isn't now. I tried calling Mark a few times, but his number was blocked. I even drove by his work site once, but his crew said he'd moved to a different state, just packed up and disappeared. The only contact I had was through his lawyer. This cold woman in designer suits who looked at me like I was something stuck to her shoe. Then came the doll drama. Mark's lawyer demanded testing to find the actual fathers, something about their right to know and potential child support. Like, are you kidding me? I had to sit down and actually try to remember every guy from that period of my life. Do you know how humiliating that is? Making a list of your hookups from over a decade ago? The test results started coming back, and it was like watching dominoes fall. Turns out Tyler's dad was this married real estate agent I'd hooked up with at a property showing. His wife found out through the court papers and went absolutely nuclear on social media, posted this whole thing about home-wrecking women and karma. Mason's biological father turned out to be my old gym trainer, Connor, who now owned some fancy CrossFit box in the next town over. He was engaged, and his fiancée cancelled their wedding when she found out. And Emma? That was the real mess. Some guy I met at a bar during girls' night. I didn't even remember his last name until the DNA registry matched us. The school meetings were the worst. Tyler got into another fight when some kids shared screenshots of all the Facebook drama. The principal suggested family counselling, like that would fix everything. Mason's teacher sent home all these pamphlets about children in crisis. Emma's kindergarten teacher kept giving me these sad looks during pickup like I was some kind of tragedy case. My inbox was flooded with messages from random people, some claiming to be the kids' real fathers, others just wanting to tell me what a horrible person I was. My old gym had to block comments on their Instagram because people kept bringing up the Connor situation. The real estate office where Tyler's bio dad worked had to release this whole statement about personal matters and privacy. The kids' actual fathers. Total jokes. Connor tried to argue that he wasn't in a position to be a father and offered some insultingly small amount of child support. The real estate agent threatened to sue me for destroying his reputation. Like, hello? It takes two to tango, buddy. And Emma's dad just straight up denied everything until the second DNA test came back positive. Then he ghosted his lawyer. My own sister, who I thought would at least try to understand, posted this long thing about praying for the children and how some wounds never heal. She even started some kind of support group remark, like he was the only one suffering here. Meanwhile, I'm the one dealing with 3 kids who barely sleep, who jump every time the phone rings hoping it's their dad, who cry when they see happy families at the mall. The court meetings were a joke. All these men in suits talking about parental rights and financial obligations while I sat there getting judged. Mark's lawyer brought up every single detail of my past, every affair, every lie, every fake doctor's appointment. She even had a timeline of all my indiscretions mapped out on this giant presentation board. Like, was that really necessary? Making me look at a PowerPoint of my mistakes? That was a year ago. Now I'm living in this tiny 3-bedroom apartment on the wrong side of town, the kind of place I used to drive past and feel sorry for the people who lived there. Karma's really something, isn't it? I had to sell most of my designer bags just to cover the security deposit. The kids share rooms now, which they hate. Tyler and Mason bunk together, and Emma got the smallest room because she's the only girl. They miss their old rooms, their old stuff, their old life. But mostly they just miss Mark. I work 2 jobs now, receptionist at a dentist's office during the day and online customer service at night. The child support from the bio dads is a joke when it even comes through. Connor sent exactly 2 payments before claiming financial hardship. The real estate agent declared bankruptcy to avoid paying. And Emma's dad? Complete ghost. Mark sends nothing. His lawyer says he has no legal obligation. Must be nice getting to just walk away. My Instagram memories keep showing me pictures from 1 year ago. Our family vacation to Disney, backyard barbecues, Christmas morning with all the fancy presents. Now my feed is just meal prep ideas and budget DIY projects. I had to turn off Facebook completely. Too many mutual friends still sharing updates about Mark's amazing new life. Apparently he moved to Colorado, bought some mountain cabin, and started his own construction company. Living his best life while I'm here dealing with the aftermath. The kids still ask about him. Emma draws these heartbreaking pictures of our old family for art class. Mason refuses to play baseball anymore because Mark was his coach. Tyler, he's the worst, told me last week he wants to change his last name to Marks when he turns 18. Like I'm not even his real parent anymore. I ran into Ashley, Mark's sister, at Target last month. She was buying stuff for Mark's nephew's birthday party, a party my kids weren't invited to. Even though they grew up thinking that boy was their cousin, she looked right through me like I was a ghost. Later that day, she posted about choosing your family and protecting your peace. Real subtle. The funny thing is, if Tyler hadn't fallen that day, if Mark hadn't been the one to take him to the ER, if that nurse hadn't mentioned the blood type thing, we'd still be living our perfect life. The kids would have their dad, I'd have my house, everything would be fine. One stupid accident ruined everything I'd built. People keep telling me I should feel guilty, that I should regret what I did. But honestly, I only regret getting caught. Yeah, I lied. Yeah, I cheated. But I gave Mark 12 years of being a dad. 12 years he loved more than anything. He got to experience all the first steps, first words, school plays, little league games. He got to be the hero, the perfect father, the man who had it all. And yeah, It was built on lies, but they were lies that made everyone happy. Now I'm stuck here watching my kids grow up in a cramped apartment, eating store-brand cereal instead of the organic stuff they used to have, wearing hand-me-downs instead of Nikes. All because the universe decided to expose my secret in the most random way possible. They say the truth sets you free, but whoever said that never had to deal with the reality of what happens when all your carefully constructed lies come crashing down.